My name is Stephen Meade with Domicile Real Estate. This is our first time buyer market update. I want to just give everybody a little bit of a thought here. There aren't a lot of market updates that are out there for people that are at the entry level end of the market. And we wanted to do something to rectify that because a lot of you, this information is especially critical. Also, if you are a seller and you're selling an entry level home, you might want to understand what's going on. So I want to go ahead and jump into it. I don't want to waste too much time, but I just wanted to give everyone a little reason. Why are we here? What are we doing? Why are we doing this? Why is this even important to you? So if you're in Southern California and you are a first-time home buyer, you're somebody who'd like to be a first-time home buyer, this is absolutely the market update for you. We are here. It is June 16th, 2026. Let's go ahead and get going on this. So let me just bring up our slideshow here. So, okay, what are we starting off with? We're starting off looking at our closed prices. And this is a little bit of a mechanism that we do that is different than anyone else. And that is we do a first quartile. So if the median home price is halfway between the cheapest and the most expensive home in terms of number of homes sold, right? This is at that first quartile. So it's halfway between the bottom and the median mark. And the reason why we do that is that's a good approximation. And one of the things I want you to notice here is our blue line is the entry level single family home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. The red line is our entry level condo. That is here representing a 2-bedroom, 2-bath in the red line. And I want you to look really at how stable for the most point our prices are. There's just not really a lot of movement going on in terms of prices right now. And so I always think it's funny when I see a home come on the market, that was sold about a year ago and somebody's asking $100,000 more, unless you've made major changes to that home. That's not just where the market is. Unless it's something spectacular, you're just not really going to find that that's where the market is. It is very stable. But, there's a lot of talk about interest rates, right? And interest rates being significantly higher and how that affects affordability. But the reality is we're right about where we were maybe a year ago or so. In fact, in terms of the entry level home market, you're actually a little bit better off than you were a year ago. Your payment was looking like $6,900. Now that entry level home is more around $6,400. If you're in that condo space, you're also seeing a little bit of relief there. So even though rates most recently have been up, the reality is this isn't really affecting you in the monthly budget like the way you think it is. Now, and also just to give everyone a little bit of background, a little bit of context, this is the total monthly payment based on 5% down. It includes mortgage insurance, taxes, HOA fee, in the case of our entry level condo. So this is a little bit of an analysis, what you need to do and how much money you need to make in your household if you want to be able to afford this with no other debt. So we're right around that $156,000 number for our entry level single family home. And we're right around $103,000 of household total minimum income if you are looking at that condo. And just as a reminder, this is Los Angeles and Orange counties. If we take a look at our 14-day absorption rate, I think this one is particularly interesting because look at how much our condo market has come up in the last 2 months. And this is what I said when I said, finally, some of you are listening to me. I've been harping along saying that now is a really good opportunity for condos. I think I've been saying that for a few months, that I think there's a space in the market. We're seeing entry-level home buyers are starting to take notice. Now, is that because they're listening to my advice and they think condos are a relatively good deal? Maybe. Or is that also just because people are feeling some affordability, some macroeconomic pressure, some inflationary pressures, and all of a sudden, guess what? Condos are looking like a much more attainable home ownership option. I don't know which it is, but the reality is we are seeing that level of condo market go up. More buyers are entering under contracts for condos. If we look at our total inventory, this one is kind of interesting to me too. I think the perception in the marketplace is that inventory is way up versus last year, but that simply is not true. For our entry-level condo, our inventory is up by a little bit. And for our entry-level single-family home, our inventory has actually dropped by a little bit. So bear that in mind, right? We are not in this huge inventory-rich environment. I don't care what newspaper article that your brother-in-law has recommended to you that says home prices are falling and there's tons of inventory. In our market, that is simply not true for either of those. If we take a look at our 14-day still active percentage, remember the lower the number is on this, the more competitive a market. We see things are about the same as where they were for our entry-level condos as last year, a year ago, and they are actually a little bit more competitive on that entry-level single-family home side. If we look at our week's supply of homes, I think this is the other one that really tells that story on condos, especially in the last couple of months. So if you look at our condos here, they're that red line, you'll see that a year ago we were over 17 weeks of inventory. As of right now, we are just over 16 weeks of inventory. Is that still a good amount of inventory? Yes, that's 4 months worth. But I want you to look at where we were 2 months ago. We were at 20 weeks of inventory, and we've really watched that steadily coming down. I think that is a case of buyers are flocking to that more affordable option. If we look at our entry-level single-family homes, you'll see that we were at a little over 9 weeks last year, and we're a little over 8 weeks. Is it a little bit more competitive out there in terms of inventory, especially for the homes that people want? Yes, absolutely, that is true. But the reality is our prices look similar, our payments are down, and our market is just a little bit more competitive. Well, I do want to thank everyone for participating and for watching this. Questions and comments, as always, we love them. I think, there's a tired trope of real estate agents saying something to the effect of, it is always a great time to buy a home. And while I think if you take a very long-term view of it, that is a true statement. I think whenever you buy is a good time to buy, especially if you can afford to stay in that home and you don't feel like you're going to have a lot of pressures. What this really comes down to is, are you in a good place in your life, in your finances, and can you find properties that are going to work for you and your situation? That's really what determines, is it a good time to buy for you or not? Anyhow, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff, and we'll see you again real soon.